It's Doug 30, y'all. Talking about Doug. Oscar Award winner. Emmy nominee. 6'13". About a $150 soaking wet. That's my boy. Doug listen to me.
Well, my name is Doug Tenaple. What am I doing down here? I'm slouching way down in my chair. My people, welcome to Doug in Exile live. You're the lucky ones. You made it. Get your thumbs up. Boo, boo, boo. We're going to talk a little bit. I got a number of 20 different items as usual, a smattering. The intro is that Nancy Pelosi, her trading days are over, not only because she's retiring, but Rep. Anna Paulina is strong-arming the Senate into keeping them from doing their insider trading. Here's the update as promised with Rep. Anna Paulina. I know she's hideously very difficult to look at. So please try not to avert your eyes from this person as she speaks.
Put it this way, my legislation to ban insider trading is being taken so seriously that I'm hearing that both Leader Hakeem Jeffries and the Speaker and potentially House leadership are considering sending members home because they don't want to have members sign on to the legislation overwhelmingly supported by the American people to ban insider trading. So I think that, obviously this place can be a pressure cooker. You guys know this being in the press. I think every single member of Congress will tell you that. But again, we're not going to stop fighting. I can understand the frustrations, but I'm here to deliver wins. And I think that we're going to get a win. We'll get negotiations for sure. I just hope that CNN continues to put pressure on some of my colleagues to get onto that legislation.
Oh, Anna Paulina getting some help from CNN going, please put pressure on my colleagues. How often does CNN help that out? Look at the girl on the left. Yeah, right. We're going to help you out with reforming corruption in politics. We'll get right on that, Anna Paulina. Paulina Luna. She's getting the same response from both Republicans and Democrats that are going, yeah, we'll get right on that. The Democrats, she was saying that they're so desperate about having them not sign this petition that they're sending them home early going, go on home, guys. Have a great Christmas. Go home. You don't got to sign that petition. Yeah, thumbs up. You guys know this. Sabrina, thank you so much for reminding me. Thumbs up is how you thank me. It's how you push this show out to a much bigger audience, and we can usually increase quite a bit, but that's up to you guys. You guys increase the show. Let me see if I can get my camera pointing down any lower. We are taking a couple out to dinner tonight from church. He is a very humble car mechanic. And so not the type, I think, that gets a fancy steak dinner very often. So I think we're going to take them out for a wonderful steak dinner, a humble, godly man. So that's what I do with my excess. How's that? Take people out to church. Here's this is a praying mantis mug, which I designed. Praying mantis man. Tenaple there. Looking good. Okay, we're going to get to the news. My people, humble car mechanic right there. Well, we'll have to get you in town there, Mr. Wade, and let's take you out to a steak dinner. Anyone living below the poverty line, way below the poverty line, if you're in town, then do you know why? Oh, not really, but I'm a mechanic. See, you know why? Because I already ate dinner with all the famous people. I went to all those Christmas parties. I'm a conservative Christian. I'd go to the Hollywood Christmas parties, and there was cocaine everywhere and people with implants everywhere and every kind of surgery and slick back hair, richer than rich. And we would just get top tier food. Those aren't the people that I was raised with. My dad built chicken farms for Foster Farms. He swung a hammer his whole life. And So I worked in the fields, and then I go to Hollywood. Why? Because I actually know what I'm doing on storytelling, comic books, animation, painting, fine art. I created the character Earthworm Jim for the Super Nintendo the Genesis. It was easy. I was the art director on the Jurassic Park Genesis video game, where I got to meet Steven Spielberg, Stan Winston, Phil Tippett, all my effects, people that did all the effects in, Empire Strikes Back and Indiana Jones, and my heroes. And I go to those Christmas parties and I realize these are not my people. These people, now I still pitch to them. I loved them. I loved them up, but I just never found that they could understand where I was coming from. And so now I really enjoy. And by the way, my friends have always been older. So I'm 59. Most of my audience is 65 years old and up. I always try to make friends with people who are much older than me because I'm always gaining wisdom, sobriety, people who have a lot more experience than I do in the real world. I never hung out with artists, squirrely people, writers, because they're all cokeheads, divorced, terrible family men, not my values. So I'm not trying to pull all this blue collar crap on you guys either. I'm not a guy, look at my hands, my hands they don't have any oil or grease under the fingernails. I don't go out and do yard work. That's not me either. But I'm saying I never went through life going, I want to see more people like me. I want to be friends with people like me. I like being friends with people who are not like me. Some of you guys have commented on the cool intros being wacky and creative. I bring you the wacky creative. That's my job to bring into the room. I bring you my wacky creative background. And oftentimes it's to perform for country music people, for mechanics, for truckers. My brother, who is now a trucker, used to be a coal miner, sports journalist, regular people. I like bringing art and light into your lives. I already ate dinner with Spielberg, Bill Gates, pitched to J.J. Abrams. I've pitched to every studio in the world. In fact, Spielberg and Bill Gates funded my first video game company, and Jeffrey Katzenberg, who became a good friend of mine, called The Neverhood. And it got Game of the Year. Soundtrack of the Year. Earthworm Jim got Game of the Year. That opened up my bid into animated television, where I did a cat scratch for Nickelodeon based on one of my comic books. I did 22 graphic novel, long form comic books where I wrote and drew the entire comic. I've done over 8,000 pages of original artwork that I could show you. I don't want to bore you. I'm a classically trained fine art painter over there. I did a portrait of my pastor and his wife. So that's my art background. Well, I've also always been a political conservative. I've never once put an X next to a Democrat since I started voting in 1984 when I turned 18. I'm politically motivated because I'm a single issue voter, largely the abortion issue. Now you have if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. If you really want me to see them, you super chat them with a little money attached to them, because that highlights them in the feed. I'm not trying to get people to pay for interaction. I literally just can't see it if there's a ton of text going up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not begging for chat, guys. Your views pay me plenty. I don't need more money from you, especially if you're poor. Never spend a dime on this channel. Understand? I'm not trying to take money from poor people. That's not my way. I'll take money from rich people all day. I love my rich people. I have a lot of wealthy friends. And a lot of poor friends too. So we're going to get into the news, guys. I got a news just all over the place. Here is one of my favorites. This is Alan Dershowitz, mentioned in the Epstein files, by the way, and that was a giant lie that brought him into it. Man, I wish I could. I don't want to go off on the lies that are being fed to you guys, the Candace Owens stuff, because I've lost like 400 subscribers telling you the truth. And those people, I'm desperately trying to get them to pay attention because I want to try and pull them out of this online cult, this cycle of lies. Guys, about 50% of what you're being told from the right and left. Remember, we finally killed MSNBC? Well, now the right starts spreading a bunch of lies. Half of it. I'm not going to name names. I don't even like talking about, especially Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, because their names are like 10 times bigger than mine. And I will still pay compliments. I favorably talk about Tucker Carlson all the time because I do believe he still has positive things to say. So I'm not just here to throw shade at Tucker. I am here to just throw shade at Candace Owens. And people in the comments, the conspiracy guys are going like, Doug, you didn't see this video. She never actually, da, da, da. Every single thing they're repeating to me, I've seen before by Saudi funded bots. So I'm just going, listen, you are repeating and agreeing with everything that's been paid for by anti-Israel Saudi bots. And you're going like, Doug, I'm not going to watch your channel anymore. Okay. Little Saudi bot. I had one guy. Now I love this guy. Someone in my audience is a flat earther. You know who you are. I have gays in my audience. Love you guys. I have atheists in my audience. Love you guys. Disagree with all of you. But I've got a flat earther in my audience who legit believes the earth is flat and was giving me all the science. And so, after a while, and he's like, if you just saw the science, if you just da-da-da. And I'm going, I hope you'll still watch, though I believe the earth is round, a sphere. I hope you'll still watch, even though I disagree with you. You might think Candace is legit. You might think Israel really is your biggest problem on earth. I hope you'll still watch. I'm not trying to lose my audience. I'm not trying to get rid of you. But if some flat earther says, Doug, I'm just not going to watch anymore if you keep pushing all this spherical earth stuff on us, then I go, I don't know what other channel you are going to watch, but it's a pretty narrow slice of the pie if you're only going to get your news, your pro-MAGA news, from flat earthers. I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you. I really want to appeal to you, but I'm not going to sit here and argue that the earth is spherical for long. Okay? Holy cow, Kenny. Jury rigged. $100 super chat. We're spending that on date night tonight. The beloved Miss Tenaple and I do have to doll up right after this show, and I am exhausted. I've worked 12 hours today. Exhausted. But I did, check it out, jury rigged. I did run 3 miles. Well, walk. I walked up a few hills, but I did run 3 miles, put in a pretty good time because I might just be prepping for a marathon. Let's see your super chat. Can he appreciate the message of hope? Yes, brother, always faithful, always smiling, always pushing. Do you know why? No matter what you do, let's say that you got your leg cut off and you're recovering. There's 2 ways to go through that process. You can be bitter, negative, and angry, or you can be happy, positive, and thoughtful and hopeful. Okay? That's why we do it simply with a message of hope. Hope is a choice. It is not circumstantial. You don't look at your circumstances and say, I only have hope when it's easy. I only have hope when everything's going my way. That's not when you need hope, guys. I believe it was G.K. Chesterton, my favorite guy of all time, who said, love implies that it's for the unlovely. That is, the time that you exert love oftentimes is when something is unlovely. Oftentimes you exert hope when things are hopeless. You produce courage when the times are fearful. You don't respond to your surroundings all the time. Oftentimes, the greatest times of hope and courage and optimism is when things go really south on you. And that's my message, is a kind of an unconditional hope of looking at principle, foundations, things to be thankful for. Because there's two ways to go through the shadow of the valley of the shadow of death. You can fear no evil, or you can go through it terrified. Which one do you think will produce the best results? Going through the shadow of the valley of the shadow of death, completely terrified, or I will fear no evil? Which one will produce better results? That's all I want to know. It's a very pragmatic argument. Another great quote by G.K. Chesterton said, oftentimes God says to love your neighbor because he knows exactly how bad your neighbors are. He doesn't say like love the guy over in that state, over in that community. He says love your neighbor because he knows that many of you have neighbors that are a-holes. The nonstop bombardment of hate, tragedy, and doom from the corporate media or deranged social media is depressing. It really is. Jury rigged. That's worth $100 right there. The media, it pays money to do the gloom, doom. Corporations make a ton of money off it. I would get paid even more money. I already get paid plenty of money. I would get paid even more if I just cranked up the fear, the hatred, the conspiracies, and terrify you a little more and did a little more. Guys, it's all falling apart. Oh my gosh. Watch this coming up next. The way that it's all going to fall apart on you, and it's over. It's over. Even though America's dying of obesity and diabetes, we die of too much calories. And yet this place is terrible. Go live in Somalia or Ethiopia, where there's skinny guys that look like hat racks about to die. In fine art, they look like the Giacometti sculptures, those big tall dudes. They look like stick men. Tell me how terrible it is as we're dying of obesity. Oh, did you, as you type it into your cell phone, the world's largest, most intelligent computer that we walk around in our pocket, and I just talk to it, give me directions to the HEB, to the Hebe Market. Give me directions to the Piggly Wiggly. Give me directions. Oh, I want my download. I want my 10% off a Chick-fil-A coupon instantly to my thing. And they scan it and they go, oh yeah, 10% off. Yeah, tell me how terrible. It's so terrible. My mom's getting her knee replaced. Now, in a way, that's like hey, pray for her. But on the other hand, it's like she's 80 something years old. Oh, and you get a new titanium knee? Yeah. Yeah. I get a new knee. I think that's pretty awesome. I don't think it's horrible. Supreme Court considers Trump's FTC firing. Watch this.
And we're going to pick our people. This also, by the way, does have some application to today's decision by Haba to resign under pressure. It is clearly unconstitutional, 100% unconstitutional.
That's Alan Dershowitz. Alina Haba had to step down from New Jersey because Trump picked her, but her 3 months ran out. It's provisional pick, 3 months until Congress approves. And the Democrats in Congress automatically won't approve her. And Dershowitz is just going, that is unconstitutional. It's not reflecting the will of the people.
For judges to be in the business of picking U.S. attorneys. And when that case comes to the Supreme Court, it will be 9-0.
Oh, I like that prediction. Guys, do you agree? Let me know in the chat below. Are you with Alan Dershowitz that when picking Alina Haba, which was reversed, Trump's going to push it up to the Supreme Court. When that gets to the Supreme Court, Alan Dershowitz predicts it will be 9-0. The three Democrat lunatics are going to come over to the conservative side. Ketanji Brown Jackson, who says, I don't know what a woman is because I'm not a biologist. Alan Dershowitz says it's going to be 9-0. in support of Trump getting his pick.
And the Supreme Court will rule that federal judges have no power under Article 3 to do anything but to decide cases and controversies. They're not in the business of picking who the U.S. attorney should be. So this is the beginning of a longer process that will, I think, go on for most of the rest of President Trump's term. And we're going to pick our people.
Yeah, it's going to go on for the rest of Trump's term because the Democrats are playing a different game. By the way, the Democrats, my hat's off to them. They're doing great being disruption. They're not going to win long term. All their wins are short term. That's all they can get, guys, is short term wins. All they can get is a couple of lower radical judges to throw a wrench in Trump's spoke. They can't destroy the bike. They can just stop it for a few minutes as we fall off and then get back on it and go again. Okay, guys? Don't forget, I got 1,400 viewers. I need you guys to give me a thumbs up to help push this channel out to everybody. Leave a comment, thumbs up, pushes it out to a bigger audience. Now, this is more on this psycho, this Democrat psycho right here. Look at this. Uncle Fester in a wig. Okay. Gunther Eagleman says, breaking rep. Haley Stevens, Democrat. How did I know that? Just filed articles of impeachment against Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. Now you guys can post in the chat. Do you agree with this or disagree with it? Jury rigged. Flat Earth is harmless. They aren't trying to take over the world. That's true. I do agree with that. Overall, if I can get a flat earther to come hang with us and he can vote with us, welcome. Get in here. It's really when the flat earther goes, you know, look, we're 30% of the Republican Party and we're all going to leave if you don't start supporting the Flat Earth Society. I'll be like, well, that's going to be hard to do. But I agree with you. Our disagreements are largely trivial, largely. Our disagreements, our agreements are going to save America. It will be very difficult for me to ever leave the Republican Party because it goes so far south that I go, okay, I'm out. Look, we just now did a thing on Rep. Anna Paulina Luna. She's pushing on the Republicans to stop doing insider trading. If Republicans continue to insider trade for the rest of their lives, I'm not going to stop voting for Republicans because Democrats are doing it, first of all, 10 times worse. Here's impeachment charges are going up against Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK, who I think is great. Again, he used to be a Democrat, guys. This guy's from the left, and I support him. Charges abusing power, gutting $8.9 billion in medical research, including pediatric cancer and vaccines. He doesn't want our children to be experimented on. Pushing anti-science policies. Now, that's always code word, you know, pushing anti-science policies. And endangering public health. Do you believe it, guys? Do you believe that RFK Jr., is he endangering public health? Do you think this ghoul right here, this corpse, do you think she cares about public health? Is this the face of caring about public health? Haley is tagged. Let her know your thoughts. This is Haley Stevens. That's the one that's tagged. You want to see Haley Stevens on the floor? Do you want to see how sane Haley Stevens looks? Let's take a look at her on the House floor. Here she is actually arguing. Watch this.
I yield the gentlelady 30 additional seconds.
The gentlewoman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
Cause of their servitude, sharing in the profession with those who have not come before you.
It's Haley. Her spittle is getting all over the camera lens. She's foaming and frothing so bad. And look at the pink gloves. Did she just get finished doing the dishes? Did you use palm olive? Madge softens your hands while you do the dishes. Watch this woman rant. Watch this.
Similar times of trying medical need, wars and flus pass. You will see darkness. You will be pushed. And our society needs you to stand together at this time. Our country loves you. To our doctors and our nurses, I wear these latex
The gentleladies talk.
I wear these latex gloves. Now they're stopping the gentleladies. Sorry. You're not here because you're popular. You're here because you got a turn. screaming. I wear these latex gloves.
Time has expired. The gentleman from Maryland is reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized. The gentleman from Texas is now recognized.
Yeah. Okay. That's the lady that wants RFK Jr. impeached. That's the voice of reason, guys. Never put an X next to a Democrat. Are you crazy? You get that pink latex gloved nut screaming. That's not even communication. Pearl necklace. Now you be careful out there. Quad Club, shout out the Tri-Quad Club. Quad Club. More. Wait, there's more. This is from Fox Business. Biden regulators. Let me get this up on screen for you kids. Let's get over here. Biden regulators accused of debanking crypto firms in choke point 2.0 crackdown. Yeah, they're debanking. This is something that the Biden administration loved doing. Debanking is when you cannot do any banking. They've done it to my friend Dick Masterson, who's here on used to be on YouTube anyways, but friend of Nick Ricada and all those guys. But Dick Masterson, they debanked him. They debanked Melania Trump, and they debanked Barron Trump, a kid. Rep. French Hill, Republican Arkansas, joins mornings with Maria Bartiromo to discuss asset tokenization. That's why they hate crypto, because crypto allows us to move money around without the government touching it. Okay. Now, here's we're going to let the Heritage Foundation weigh in. If the Supreme Court rules in accordance with the original intent for the 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship as it's understood today will end. Let's watch that clip.
If the court goes with what the original sponsors of the 14th Amendment intended and understood, then Donald Trump will win. The problem is that starting about 70 or 80 years ago, the interpretation of that was totally changed to not be in accord with what the 14th Amendment was. It just kind of came out of thin air, the idea that if you're born in the U.S., you're a U.S. citizen, no matter what, even if your father is a diplomat of a foreign country or you're here illegally. So if they go with that modern interpretation, Trump will lose. But if
they're not going to go with that modern interpretation. Do you guys know why? Stare decisis is the idea that it has been decided. That is because we've always observed it in the past. It has been decided, and there's a precedent, stare decisis, and all of the constitutional constructionists, all of the constructionists from Antonin Scalia forward said, stare decisis, stare decisis. That is, they didn't care that Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. Since 1973, they said it was wrongly decided. And so you don't keep doubling down on wrong just because tradition, all these other reasons have said you must follow it. They said, look, we're just looking for original intent, and we will overturn it if we were ever wrong. So he's going, if they don't go with precedent, and the 6 conservatives will not go with precedent, or they may support birthright citizenship for other reasons, but it won't be based on precedent.
they do what they're supposed to do, which is go back to the original understanding of the 14th Amendment, then Donald Trump will win.
Yeah, well, and actually, by extension, the United States will win because the intent of the Constitution will be upheld, and we will get out of, and this is how I feel about it, Hans, nothing good ever comes from a country that breaks its own laws. And frankly, we have millions of illegal aliens in this country, courtesy of a U.S. government that has broken its own laws. Yes?
Right, right. No, that's absolutely right. And even though, for example, illegal aliens are not supposed to collect public assistance benefits in places like Los Angeles, all of the aid going to children, which is a huge part of the federal public assistance budget, is collected by who? Illegal alien parents, because we've been treating their kids as if they're U.S. citizens because they were born here, even though their parents are here illegally.
That ends depending on how the Supreme Court case goes, guys. We could make it illegal for the parents of children who are claiming birthright citizenship to collect benefits, and suddenly they'll go back to their country. They'll go, look, the gravy train is over. So this is the big significant one. I've been following this through all this week, told you guys that this is going to be argued in April, probably decided by June of next year, right before the 2026 election. Very important. Here's a member. We do have memberships open, gangs. You can't claim birthright citizenship unless you're born to a citizen in any other country. I agree. You cannot claim birthright citizenship. Understand? By the way, for the members, there is a link in the description if you're looking to become a member. Very important is right. We're going to, guys, if Trump can just hang in there a little longer, if we can just hold MAGA together a little longer, it's all going to turn around to the good. Anyways, memberships are open in the description. You click the link and it'll say, you want to become a member? And I think you can pay like $5 a month or $10 a month. I don't know what it is. It might even be $20 a month. I split it with YouTube. Not a big deal. Again, like I said, I don't want your money. You know what I want is your time. I want you to watch. Watching is how you grow an audience. You entertain them for as long as possible. And of course, give us a thumbs up because those numbers, those view numbers are still going up. We're up to 1,800 simultaneous people watching this at once. I told you guys that I came out of Hollywood. I did TV shows, video games, and my success on YouTube. More people watch my news channel on YouTube than have ever watched my stuff on TV. Did you know that? So a lot of the cartoonists in my past and comic book people and video game people go, Doug, you sold out. You're not an artist anymore because you do videos on politics. And I go, no, I'm a mass media artist. I'm here to entertain the masses. And I animate, I move, I do those little intros and stuff like that. I have a lot of fun. And this is the most fun I've ever had doing live shows like this. This is technically, it's political entertainment, but it's entertainment. And it makes me very happy. And just because I'm not doing comics anymore doesn't mean I'm not creating. And I have so much fun looking at what's out there and having a blast with all of you, just bringing you the news and putting a little bright face on it and going, guys, this is what's happening. It's very confusing. I get it. Here's Dr. Oz on saying Minnesota Governor Tim Walz knew about the fraud and did nothing about it. So the Somali community votes Democrat. This goes into the scam of why the Somali grift, including Ilhan Omar, but all their illegal Somalis are working, and all the money, it's not going to Republicans. It's all getting washed to Democrats. Here's Dr. Oz.
2023, the last year we have numbers for $400 million. Okay, and how much of that is going into the Somali community? Has that been institutionalized?
They've weaponized fraud and corruption. Talking with the CMS team that I'm blessed to work with, they say they've never seen anything like this. It's an abject dereliction of duty. And I think what happened, and just becoming clearer now, is that the Walz administration knew there was a problem. Whistleblowers were saying this money's being stolen. You gave a great number with autism. I can regale you with a bunch more. But nobody wanted to rock the boat because it turns out Somalians overwhelmingly vote for Democrats. They felt it would look bad for them to go after these people that they knew were guilty.
Democrats don't poop where they eat, in other words. That's from The Sopranos. It's actually, they don't S where they eat. Democrats know this is their gravy train. They're not, so even a Democrat that might be against crime goes, I don't have the cojones to call out a Somali claiming to help children, take the money, launder it into the Democrat Party, vote Democrat, and to some terrorist warlord groups out in Somalia. I don't have the character. I get it. It's hard. It's hard to go after your own boss when he's being corrupt. It's hard to go after a family member when they're corrupt. I get it. Look at that. Sharon got a new one, is a new YouTube member. Thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the community. I do appreciate you guys for helping that out. Here's more from Oz.
It was the Somalian community, in fact, that it finally came forward and said enough is enough. And we see people buying luxury cars, shipping money back to our home country, maybe even to terrorist organizations. And it was with that urging, we finally found out what was happening. But here's the deal. President Trump's not going to tolerate this. Understandably, no American should want their tax dollars being siphoned off to Somalians living in Minnesota, who then ship it over to Africa or other places where it can be used for purposes that it was not designed. They're taking away the benefits that our most vulnerable desperately need when they steal from autistic children or from homeless people, people with substance use disorder. So we made a very clear line in the sand. By the end of this month, we need some type of a written plan from Governor Walz's team. Every week we want audits. We're demanding.
They want a written plan from Tim Walz on what he's going to do about this. Okay, chat, this is where you come in. Will the Trump administration and Dr. Oz get a written response from Tim Walz addressing the corruption? Oh, if you believe that, I got a story for you. See, there's this fat guy with a beard named Santa Claus that comes down your chimney and magically brings gifts to you. He flies a giant flying reindeer named Rudolph, and, you know, his nose is bright red. It's a light instead of a nose. I can't explain the physics of it, but instead of being a fleshy nose that used for smelling, it is a guiding light that produces illumination to a point that you can fly it through the atmosphere, and it helps guide Santa's sleigh. That's what I have to say to the people that believe that Tim Walz is going to produce a written explanation on how to address the Somali fraud.
This, and by the end of January, if they have not cleaned up this disaster, this mess, then Governor Walz should start looking for loose change under his couch, because we are going to shut down funding of these programs, the 14 additional programs, besides the one for transportation that we already, or rather for housing, that we already shut down.
Well, 2.6 million, what was originally proposed, now it's over 100 million?
For that one program, but you add them all. And Sean, here's the thing. These programs were designed for the sickest of the sick, people who are vulnerable. Imagine what happens if you're a child on the autism spectrum, mom and dad are barely keeping things together, and all of a sudden.
Okay. I feel bad for Dr. Oz that he's this naive to think that something's they're going to get any kind of a response. Here's a great question from MJP. Doug, do you think this is why Kamala picked Walz for VP, vice president, because of the scams Democrats running in Minnesota? They wanted to protect the Act Blue money, making scheme for Democrats. I actually don't think the grift is big enough in Minnesota to have automatically given Tim Walz that seat. I don't believe it's the grift. I do believe because Act Blue money, don't forget, is funding the grift in every Democrat state. She did need Minnesota. I think she just picked him to hopefully make her look good. Remember, she really wanted Pete Buttigieg, but because he's gay, she said, I can't put that guy on the ticket. Remember, all the Democrats are saying they're pro-trans, pro-LGBTQ, but when it really came down to it, someone really needed her help. Pete Buttigieg, she goes, ew, gay, are you kidding? I'm not going to put you on stage with me, you freak. Meanwhile, Obama goes out and yells at black men for not supporting Kamala Harris for being a woman. No, you people, you have a problem. My black people, we know you all have a problem. It's misogyny against women. But Kamala Harris didn't pick a gay man, and she does not have a problem with homophobia. She also was going to pick Josh Shapiro, who clearly would have been a big help with Pennsylvania. But because he's a Jew who used to be in the IDF, she goes, I can't put a Jew on the ticket. Democrats hate Jews. Are you kidding? I'm not going to commit suicide. So yeah, the whole grift thing doesn't make sense. I think she picked Tim Walz because they thought he was white and normal. Why would the Democrats pick a white heterosexual guy that they were going to push was normal? I remember they said J.D. Vance was weird, while Tim Walz is going, hey, everybody, with his fake military record, stolen valor. Just Democrats are just corrupt, formal scum. What's happening with the Somali money? That just erupted just from nowhere, guys. It's everywhere. All of USAID, all of their money going to health and human services. I don't care if it's medical research through Fauci, through their laboratories. They're conducting experiments on unborn children. They're conducting experiments on animals. They're conducting experiments. They are grifting money, washing it to the Democrat Party, washing it out to terrorists, washing to pay for abortions in Mexico City. They just launder everything as a giant scam. It's not actually reflecting the will of the people. The more you learn about the Democrats, the deeper the grift goes. It's just a giant crime syndicate. It's a mafia, corrupt crime syndicate. And Trump is the only person with the biggest personality to break it off and stop it. It was Trump's personality. I'm not going to sit here and deify him and say how pure and holy Trump is. Trump is foul. But God used that man because he's the only one that would make a fist and punch corruption in the face, because all the Republicans that are nice guys and holy and not foul, they will not make a fist and fight. Trump made a fist and fought. So God goes, fine, I'll use this guy. I'll rise him up. He'll make a fist. The Republican Party, all the nice guys, they're a bunch of, I love Mike Johnson, but they're all a bunch of Mike Johnsons. You know what I mean? I love Tim Burchett, but Tim Burchett's like, dadgummit. They're all a bunch of Tim Burchetts. Make a fist and start punching. That's what Trump did. That's how he was used. It's uniquely a Trump gifted thing. More good news from Republicans.
Fraud, fraud, and more fraud. It seems like every day there is a new discovery of stolen taxpayer dollars in my home state of Minnesota. And who is smack dab in the middle of it? The self-acknowledged liar, incompetent, failed governor, and failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz.
Woo!
But with the world now watching, Walz...
That's a guy starting to talk about his own state. He looks like he's ready to throw a fist, throw a punch.
Can no longer hide from accountability. I want to thank President Trump and his all-star administration for pursuing justice for the hardworking taxpayers of my state of Minnesota. Secretary Noem, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Duffy, FBI Director Patel, Administrator Loeffler, Dr. Oz, Stephen Miller, Border Czar Tom Homan, and even more in the Trump administration have sounded the alarm and taken action finally.
Now, wait a minute. He mentioned everyone but Pam Bondi. I don't want to cause any trouble, but he did mention everyone but Pam Bondi. There's Mike Johnson, Speaker Mike Johnson to his right there.
On behalf of the people of Minnesota, thank you. In addition to exposing and eliminating rampant waste, fraud, and abuse, President Trump and House Republicans are delivering on our promise to restore affordability and opportunity for the American people.
Amen.
With legislation to streamline permitting, unleash American energy, and increase opportunities for Americans to invest in their futures, we're working to lower costs, support American jobs, and spur business innovation.
You guys support this kind of talk? Notice he's not saying arrests. Our side, we're too obsessed with arrests. He just goes, you know what we're going to do? How about we drill? How about we get cheaper energy? How about we continue to crash out gas prices, drive them down? How about we continue to provide jobs for working class Americans? How about we recover all those missing kids? It's pretty good. I like this guy. I think he's onto something.
In particular, the nonpartisan INVEST Act, led by Congresswoman Ann Wagner, is going to cut bureaucratic red tape. It's going to empower small businesses in this country and entrepreneurs and give Americans more freedom to invest, build wealth, and save for the future.
Yeah, invest, build wealth, save for the future. I buy that. If they can pull it off, look, if that's all you can do, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, the Democrats were real good at arresting Trump. None of it stuck. Okay? So it's real easy to arrest people. Hard to make it stick is the problem. I'm all for arrests. I don't like us wasting time on arrests. If it just goes to a Democrat judge and a Democrat jury and the person gets off the hook, then we will have wasted all our time. Look at all the people watching, 2,100 people watching. More thumbs up, guys. That'll push this out. We're going to keep growing that number. That really helps this channel out. Now, here's some rare shade. Trump is going to call out Chuck Grassley, who I love, right here. He's saying Chuck Grassley, and he's implying that they won't nuke the filibuster. So he can't get his appointments because of a Chuck Grassley is still playing like a gentleman. He's playing like a Republican from 2008. And the Republicans need to learn that game is over.
Okay, what else?
Yeah, Alina Habba says she's stepping down as U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey after the courts disqualified her. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, she's not disqualified. You get a blue slip thing that's horrible. It's a horrible thing. It makes it impossible to appoint a judge or a U.S. attorney, and it's a shame. And the Republicans should be ashamed of themselves that they allowed this to go on.
Do you agree with that? You guys know how rare it is that I'll hit the Republicans. Should Republicans be ashamed that they're still honoring the blue slip rule that allows Democrats to not pass, not bring up on the floor a vote for Trump's judges and his appointments that only last 3 months because they're provisional until they vote on them? Do you agree that the Republicans, I love Chuck Grassley, but do you agree that Chuck Grassley is blowing it? And frankly, Mike Johnson too, and John Thune, anyone there, they're still obeying the rules. We all know the Democrats are going to throw this gentleman's agreement out, this blue slip agreement. They're going to throw it out as soon as they get back in office. They're going to get all their judges through. They're going to get all their appointments through with a simple majority vote. They're going to expand the Supreme Court. They're going to change the Constitution. As soon as they get back into a majority, and they will 100% be united. They don't have Marjorie Taylor Greene's dragging their party down. In fact, she'll probably be voting with them. They don't have Thomas Massey's not voting with their party. They're not divided. The left doesn't have a bunch of divided lunatics making up lies about Charlie Kirk. They're united as a party.
Because I can't appoint a U.S. attorney that's not a Democrat, because they put a block on it. So if you appoint in Virginia or in New Jersey or in California a U.S. attorney or a judge, I mean, the judge situation is ridiculous.
How is he going to get his judge picks? How does an election be reflected in the judges that are picked for blue states if Trump can't bring up anyone but a Democrat? Is the only one the Democrats would vote for. We got to smoke these Democrats in 2026. We got to give him the biggest majority to work around Chuck Grassley, frankly.
The only people that you can get by are Democrats, because they will put a hold on it. If I put up George Washington and Abraham Lincoln to be U.S. attorney in New Jersey or to be U.S. attorney in Virginia, we have Democrat senators. They will not approve them. And this is a gentleman's agreement that's lasted for too long. And it doesn't make it, especially in light of what's going on today. It means you can't appoint a Republican U.S. attorney. And we don't play the same game with them. But they do.
This is about reciprocations. Reciprocal. Trump used to say it. He'd say it real slow because you could tell the word was new to him. He goes, reciprocal. Reciprocity. We must do to the Democrats what they're doing to us. He said they'll they'll get rid of that blue slip rule. All the time, they've done it before. And Chuck Grassley is respecting it. And it's time to do it back to them, not as an act of revenge, but because by the standard that you judge others, you must be judged. By the standard that the Democrats did to us, we must do back to them. We're only one party's playing by the rules.
And I hope that somebody speaks to Senator Grassley about doing something about the blue.
Oh, Chuck Grassley, you've been warned. The state fair, the corn state fair. Grassley, I love him. I love me some Chuck Grassley. But dude, cut the gloves off. It is time to fight. I'm sorry, but if you're not willing to do it and someone else is primarying you who will beat you, but will come on the MAGA agenda, I would support them and send money to them if they can win. I don't want to hear about third-party candidates or independents if they can't win. If you can't win, go away. I'll take Lindsey Graham over someone who can't win. You have to win. I don't want to hear about your attempt and how pure you are. I don't care how pure you are. You have to win.
Because I'm telling you, John, I put up great people, top people, highest education, the best lawyers to be like U.S. attorney, and both senators. It only takes one, but if they're Democrat senators, they say we're not going to approve it. I had a couple of them say, "Why don't you appoint Democrats?" All because Senator Grassley, with his blue slip stuff, will not let anybody go by. By the way, the Democrats have violated the blue slip provision on numerous occasions.
True.
But we don't do it.
True.
And what it means is, I guess I just have to keep appointing people for 3 months and then just appoint another one. And it's a very sad situation. We're losing.
He should be angry. This is where the Republican Party is failing MAGA, failing you and I, the voter, failing Trump. He should be angry at a good man like Chuck Grassley. Wake up, Chuck. Up, Chuck.
We're losing a lot of great people. We have about 7 U.S. attorneys who are not going to be able to keep their jobs much longer because of the blue slip. Because
we're losing all those attorneys, guys. Those are the ones that are supposed to be appointed to help Pam Bondi go shake out investigations on Fauci, on Chris Wray, these are lawyers, on Jack Smith. They can only work for 3 months. They don't get the vote up because of Chuck Grassley.
Unless, I think I know why they did that, to protect their ass. Okay, that's why they did that. But it should be done away with. I want to be able to appoint the most highly educated, the most respected people. They can't keep their jobs because of the blue slips.
Yeah, I'm pretty angry about that. That's from Breitbart.com. My buddy Andrew Breitbart got me my start in political commentary. I used to write for Breitbart.com, big Hollywood. I wrote about Hollywood insider stuff. And he was a very good friend of mine. He was an atheist, and I did witness to him about Jesus Christ. Now, let's take a look at what Chuck Grassley has to say. Here's Chuck Grassley. We don't move on appropriations yet in December. We will have just 12 days in January and under threat of government shutdown. So now the Democrats are getting ready for their government shutdown. If they don't get their Affordable Care Act to buoy and hold up the absolutely corrupt, defunct, evil Obamacare that a bunch of people believed because they're dumb. They were told you'd get health care, it'll drive the cost down, and it doubled your premiums. We're under the threat of a government shutdown. One other result is we could be left with one big, ugly omnibus bill, a props bill, showing lack of respect for the hardworking appropriators who voted every bill out in a bipartisan way. There you go. Chuck Grassley. Wait, there's more. Federal Reserve cuts interest rates. Now, this is good news for the people that need to buy a house with lower interest rates, for people that need to borrow money to open a small business. If you own stocks in your retirement, this will help artificially push the stock market up because suddenly everyone gets a little more liquid capital for a little bit cheaper. It'll drive Bitcoin up. It'll drive the stock market up. I'm predicting, I'm not an expert, guys. I'm a barely literate comic book artist. Are you kidding? Do not make investment plans on me.
President Trump's, okay, we can confirm now, it is official. It is another quarter-point cut from the Federal Reserve. And this is as the potential pick for the next Federal Reserve chair by President Trump. Kevin Hassett joined us last hour, and he is touting what he says is a booming economy.
Kevin Hassett, guys, did you hear that? Jerome Powell, it looks like, is going to be replaced with Trump's Kevin Hassett. And I love Kevin Hassett to be the new Fed chair, replacing Jerome Powell. That's a member of the Trump administration, guys. He's going to cut the interest rates. I hope he cuts it by 10 points. Just flood the market with a bunch of money under Trump, like Jerome Powell did under Biden. Here's our guy, Congressman Brendan Gill. Obamacare was sold as a program to lower health care premiums. Within 4 years, they doubled. They're continuing to climb.
Obamacare was sold to the American people as a program that would drive down premiums. I think the number that was thrown out by President Obama at the time was $2,500. Has that promise come to fruition?
No, it has not, Congressman. And in premiums on individual health insurance policies on the marketplaces and the exchanges more than doubled in the law's first 4 years. And that's primarily because of the regulatory mandates that the law imposed. And premiums have continued to increase substantially, and they continue to increase substantially more so on the exchanges than for employer-sponsored coverage.
So you would say that Obamacare didn't slow the growth of premiums in any meaningful way?
I think, if anything, quite the contrary. I mean, Senator Welch, I believe, last month admitted on the Senate floor that the law failed to reduce costs. But more than that, I think it's accelerated the cost growth because of the consolidation that has come about in terms of hospital mergers, insurers buying PBMs, et cetera, et cetera.
It made everything worse. You were lied to. As Biden said, I mean, has Obama, did anything he say come out to be true? My people can tell me in the chat below. We're up to 2,200 people. Give us a thumbs up because we're on our way out. I'm going to take the beloved Miss Tenaple out for a wonderful steak dinner with some friends at church. I ran 3 miles today. If you want to encourage me, give me a thumbs up. I'm 59 years old. I haven't done a marathon in 10 years. It might be time, but I can't do it without you guys supporting me, loving on me, encouraging me, rooting for me, praying for me. Otherwise, my poor body will just crumble, probably right about the 25th mile instead of the 26th mile. I haven't signed up for it yet because once I commit to it, it is go time. Okay? But in the meanwhile, I'm going to keep doing videos for you guys, bring you only the news that you really need to hear. No conspiracies, no lies, all facts, all truth. And I'm going to keep promoting MAGA. It's MAGA that we're about. The Trump product saved the country. Trump took a bullet, risked his life, and then a bunch of grifters came in and said, I need Trump's movement. I need that Trump magic. I'm going to use what he did by sacrificing himself to save this country, and I'm going to pull it over to my community and to my political agenda. I'm going to take it. Same thing with Charlie Kirk, died. And now all these grifters, online grifters go, I'm going to take what Charlie built at TPUSA and I'm going to use it to help my agenda, even though it totally stands against everything Charlie Kirk stood for. Just go watch a Charlie Kirk video. He told men, get off your phone, get married, have kids, accept Jesus, vote for Trump. That's his message. If you hear a grifter come in and say, I know what Charlie Kirk really thought, and they're against all those things, they're telling you, Nick Fuentes came out and said, never get married, never even date. That's not Charlie Kirk's message. These people, it's fame, our notoriety, the amount of people that watch us is monetized. So you guys need to be very careful shoppers. Careful shoppers. I always appreciate disagreement in the chat because I'm not here just to plug agreement. I'm not trying to create an agreement cult. I want to create a bunch of people who think sober about facts so that we can all unite and fight in the right direction as one without going off on these wild goose chase distractions that help no one, mean anything, mean nothing. There's no facts behind them and nothing happens. That's not what I'm promoting. I just want Republicans to win in 2026, or I swear if the Democrats win, your Constitution is over because they're going to pack the Supreme Court and change the DNA of your Constitution. That means any right that you think you have, gone. Any representational government that you think a Republican has, gone. Even the Trump presidency, they're going to reverse all of our votes, and him taking a bullet, they're going to impeach him and throw him in prison for life. J.D. Vance will not have a chance. It will be gone. Do you understand how serious this is? That's why I don't mess around. I'm not here to mess around. I'm not here to talk about, start a big war. Oh, Candace so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I want Republicans, mainstream Republicans, never put an X next to a Democrat. Always put an X next to a Republican, especially coming up in 2026. And guys, we can win if the Patriots stay sober. I'm Doug in exile. God bless you all.